This is Mr. Wright. Today we are going to look at how to do shadow problems. All right, so let's set one up. So whenever you're doing a shadow problem, what I like to do is kind of label my two figures. So the first person we have is Bob, and then we have a building, right? All right, so whenever you're doing a shadow problem, there's pretty much two sides. We're going to create a triangle, but one side is going to be the height, and then shadows are always on the ground, so the shadow is down at the bottom. So Bob is 6 feet tall, so that's going to be his height, so that's 6. And the shadow's 8 feet long, so the shadow's on the ground, that's 8. So that's where the triangle comes from. A building has a 100-foot shadow, so I don't know how tall it is, but I know the shadow is 100 feet. How tall is the building? So whatever's missing, that's where the X goes. So with the shadow problem, the reason that these two triangles are similar is because the height is always going to be perpendicular to the ground. So that's where that angle comes from. Then the angle of the sun, I measure these shadows at the same time of the day, the angle of the sun is going to be exactly the same. So that if these two triangles are similar, then the sides are proportional and you can write a proportion. But the main thing you have to know is that when you set up these shadow problems, the height is going to be on your vertical line, and then the shadow is always going to be on the ground. And I would just label the two things so that way, because like they're not always going to give you the information in the same order, so that way you don't get confused when you're labeling everything. So once it's set up, then you just match up your corresponding sides to set up your proportion. 6 over x equals 8 over 100. Cross multiply. 8 times x is 8x. 6 times 100 is 600. Divide by 8. You type that into your calculator, you get your answer. Let's do a couple more. Giraffe. So this is my giraffe. So he's tall, he has a shadow. Then we have Corey. This is how tall he is, there's his shadow. So giraffe casts a shadow of 12 feet. Corey is 6 feet tall, so this is his height, and casts a shadow of 4 feet. How tall is the giraffe? So that's how we set it up. Height, shadow, height, shadow. And now your proportion, match up. Left side would be x over 6. Bottom, 12 over 4. Cross multiply and solve it. Flagpole, one more. So we have a flagpole and a person. Okay, let's see. This is my flagpole. There's a shadow. Here's my person. There's their shadow. So the shadow is 32. The person is standing nearby, casts a shadow of 10 feet long. The person is 6 feet tall. How tall is the flagpole? So my triangles aren't drawn to scale, but we can, as long as it's set up right, then we can solve for x. So match up the sides. X matches up with 6. 32 matches up with 10. That's what your proportion looks like. So you cross multiply. 10x equals 192. Divide by 10. X equals 19.2.